When Gökberk Demirci first set foot on Egyptian soil, the warmth of the desert air wrapped around him like an embrace from history itself. He had traveled to many places before, yet there was something profoundly unique about Egypt, something that spoke to the depths of his spirit as both an actor and a seeker of culture. The first glimpse of Cairo was a tapestry of colors and movement, bustling streets filled with the echoes of vendors calling out, the aromatic pull of spices, and the timeless beauty of structures that had withstood millennia. For Gökberk, it wasn't simply a journey of leisure. It was a pilgrimage into a land where every stone seemed to whisper stories older than imagination. The moment he saw the pyramids of Giza rising against the skyline, he felt a surge of awe that silenced even a part of him trained to perform emotions. In person, the pyramids were not just monuments. They were colossal testaments to human endurance and vision, reminders of what civilizations could achieve with faith and unity. He walked closer, feeling the heat radiating off the ancient stones, and could not resist placing his palm against their rough surface. As his hand pressed against the pyramid, he felt an inexplicable connection, as though generations of dreamers, builders, and rulers were reaching through time to share their strength with him. Fans who spotted him there took photographs, but Gökberk's expression was one of quiet reverence, eyes fixed on a horizon, reflecting the golden glow of the desert sun. His journey took him along the Nile, where the river's gentle current told a different story of Egypt. Not the grandeur of kings and queens, but a lifeline of ordinary people who had thrived along its banks for thousands of years. Gökberk sat on the deck of traditional felucca, watching the sun sink into the river and scatter brilliant hues of orange and purple across the sky. He thought about how civilizations rise and fall, yet the Nile remains eternal, unbothered, and steadfast, just as his own career had seen tides of challenges and triumphs. It was here, in the calm of the river, that he allowed himself moments of reflection, away from the flashing cameras and the expectations of the screen. The bustling bazaars of Cairo added another layer to his experience. Gökberk strolled through narrow alleyways filled with lanterns, perfumes, handmade jewelry, and vibrant textiles. Merchants greeted him warmly, some recognizing him from his work in Turkish dramas, their excitement bridging the gap of language. He laughed easily with them, engaging in the rhythm of bargaining, tasting freshly made falafel and sipping on strong Egyptian coffee. It was not the grandeur of the bazaars that caught him, but the humanity within them, the smiles of children running past, the resilience of shopkeepers, and the warmth of people eager to share their stories. One of the most profound moments of his trip came when he visited the temples at Luxor and Karnak. Standing beneath towering pillars carved with hieroglyphs, Gökberk felt dwarfed not just in size but in time. These temples were more than ruins. They were chapters of books still being written by each visitor who stood in awe before them. The artistry, the symmetry, and the precision of the carvings left him pondering the nature of legacy. As an actor, he thought about the fleetingness of fame compared to the eternal endurance of culture and creativity. He whispered to himself that even if one lifetime is short, the impact of what we create can live on for centuries. During his trip, he also embraced the local traditions, tasting authentic Egyptian cuisine and participating in cultural events that coincided with his stay. He attended a traditional music performance one evening, where the haunting melody of the oud and the rhythmic beats of the tabla seemed to echo straight into his heart. The passion of the musicians, their connection to their roots, reminded him of his own devotion to his craft. He realized that while languages and geographies might differ, the human need to express, to share, and to connect remains the same everywhere. Yet, Egypt was not just a backdrop for inspiration. It was a mirror, showing him the contrast of life. He witnessed poverty alongside opulence, ancient wonders coexisting with modern chaos, resilience in the face of hardship, and beauty born of struggle. For Gökberk, this contrast resonated deeply. It reminded him of his own journey in the acting world, where moments of triumph often stand shoulder to shoulder with unseen battles. He documented parts of his journey on social media, sharing glimpses of pyramids, sunsets, and street life, each post reflecting his gratitude and humility. Fans from across the world responded with enthusiasm, touched by the sincerity in his words and the wonder in his eyes. But what they could not see in the photos was a quiet transformation taking place inside him. Egypt had given him not just memories, but lessons about patience, about strength, about the value of roots and the inevitability of change. Before leaving, Gökberk spent time at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, gazing upon the treasures of Tutankhamun and countless other relics. The golden mask, delicate jewelry, and preserved artifacts left him silent with admiration. Here was the ultimate reminder that material glory fades, yet the stories attached to them survive. He thought of his own life, the roles he played, and the stories he brought to millions. Perhaps in some small way, he too was contributing to humanity's collective narrative, weaving emotions and characters that will remain etched in people's hearts long after the lights dimmed on set. As his trip drew to an end, Gökberk stood once more under the vast Egyptian sky. Stars scattered like diamonds across the darkness. He breathed deeply, filling his lungs with desert air, heavy with history yet fresh with possibility. Egypt had shown him not only its treasures, but also the treasure within himself, the capacity to see, to feel, to grow, and to carry a piece of every place into his soul. He boarded his flight back with the quiet knowledge that Egypt was no longer just a destination on a map. It had become a part of his inner landscape, a chapter of his story that would shape the roles he played and the man he continued to become.